Chances are, if you're watching this video, you're auditioning for Berklee this year. This video is going to be a comprehensive guide on how you can get into Berklee on drum set in 2021. I'm going to be walking you through the styles you need to play, how to prepare, what I did to prepare, and what I feel I should have done differently. And oh, I forgot to turn on the light. Let's start by talking about your prepared piece. It can be whatever you want it to be. And I mean, whatever you want it to be. I played Don't Let Me Fade Away by Wage War, which is a heavy metalcore song. The whole idea behind the prepared piece is that you want to demonstrate your strengths as a player to the jurors. Whatever you pick, just make sure that you know that you can play it and that you're gonna have fun playing it. The jurors want to see that you can have fun while playing, that you can play, and what you believe your strengths are as a musician. It's really up to you, so if you're having any doubts about something, just pick that and go for it. Now let's talk about styles. I'm gonna be breaking down and giving a playing example of each of the styles listed on the Berklee website. Let's get into it. So let's start with 4/4 swing. If you're coming from a rock background and have no experience playing jazz, don't worry, I'm going to explain everything about this to you. Swing is the rhythmic approach used in most jazz, and I say most because jazz is a massive genre with lots of subdivisions that are very different from each other. To count in swing, rather than counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like you would in straight eighth notes, you're going to subdivide everything into triplets and count the rather than the and. That sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, There are lots of videos on YouTube about swing. If you're still confused, I'll link some in the description for you, along with a ton of other resources that'll help you prepare. This is my playing example of a 4/4 medium swing. Three/4 swing is very similar to 4/4 swing. A great piece that incorporates it is Blues Waltz by Max Roach. I highly recommend you check out the solo in that. It's wild. This is my example of a 3/4 swing. One pretty cool thing about the styles is that there's no right answer. I mean, there are general guidelines for each style, but it's really up to interpretation for the player. That's another thing that the jurors are going to be looking for. They want to see how you interpret each style and how you play it and make it your own. Don't be afraid to deviate from all the patterns that you've been shown over the years. The jazz shuffle is pretty simple. Just think swing, but with a backbeat. This is my playing example of a jazz shuffle. So now let's talk about Latin. There are 3 styles I'm going to break down within this. That's going to be the Bossa Nova, the Samba, and the Mambo, which is more of an Afro-Cuban thing. If all of that is completely foreign language to you, learn some Spanish. With the Bossa Nova, there are going to be 3 main things going on. You're going to have a very simple foot ostinato, kick, hat, kick, kick, hat, kick, kick, and your ride pattern is just going to be straight eighths. This is no longer going to be swing. Everything from here on out is going to be straight eighth notes. This is my playing example of a Bossa Nova. Let's talk about sambas now. A samba is very similar to a bossa nova beat. Generally it's faster and it's a little bit more complicated. You're going to be playing the same foot ostinato, just a bit quicker, and rather than playing straight eighth notes on the ride, you're going to be playing it in groups of 3. I was taught to play it over top of the foot ostinato. A very common samba snare pattern sounds like this. You can either play that cross stick or hits on the snare. Try using the butt end of the stick, as it's going to get you a much louder, much more pronounced cross stick sound. Mess around with your snare too. See where you can find the sweet spot for the cross stick. Right there, you want that kind of sound. This is my playing example of a samba. Mambo, in my opinion, is going to be the most difficult out of all of these rhythms, so it's something that you're going to want to learn and be prepared for. There are three main things going on with the Mambo as well. Your bass drum is just going to be playing on 1 and 3 like a simple rock beat, just 1, 2, 3, 4. Your left hand is going to be doing two things. It's going to be alternating between cross sticks and double strokes on the toms. Your right hand is going to be playing a very specific ostinato. You can either play this on a cowbell if you have that, the side of your floor tom, or your ride with the bell. I prefer to play it with my ride. This is my playing example of a mambo. There are 4 more styles I'm going to be covering, and they're much simpler than everything we've covered already. A calypso beat or a soca beat, I think that's how you say it? Soca? This one, that is your simple pop Latin beat. It sounds like this. Much about reggae. However, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I was not asked to play reggae at the audition. This is my playing example of a reggae. Let's talk about funk now. Funk is a really fun style to play. There are lots of interpretations of it, and it can be very simple, it can be very complicated. A very simple funk beat would be something like Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, just simple 4 on the floor. The idea behind funk is that it feels good. Generally with funk, you're probably going to be playing some ghost notes too. A great example of this is Cobblestones by Chris Berg. It's one of my favorite funk pieces to play. This is my playing example of funk. Last but certainly not least, we're going to be talking about rock. This one's going to be pretty up to interpretation for the player. You can play a Nickelback song. This is my playing example of rock. Now, I hate to bring up the topic of volume because as a drummer, it is one of my biggest pet peeves. We play drums. Drums are loud. It's difficult for us to control our volume. However, you're going to want to be aware of it. If you're deafening the judges, that's going to distract them from what you're actually playing. However, since the audition is most likely going to be online this year, I wouldn't worry about it too much. One other thing I want to bring up. On the Berklee website, there's a section entitled Practice Exercises. No matter what your instrument, this is going to be one of the most helpful things for you. On that webpage, you're going to find fully orchestrated playing examples. No matter what your instrument, this is going to be helpful because there are isolated versions with no drums, no bass, no guitar, no piano. You're going to be able to use that to practice. I've linked it directly in the description. Some other things that I want to touch on. So there are a couple of other things about the audition that you need to know. There is an interview. There are practice questions on the Berklee website. I've linked those in the description. There is a melody and a rhythm test. Basically what's going to happen, the jurors are going to sit behind a piano and play short 3-note melodies and you have to sing them back. This will help them assess your relative pitch. If your relative pitch isn't doing that well, I've linked a couple videos in the description that'll help you with that. You should also familiarize yourself with the differences between all the types of chords, major, minor, augmented, and diminished. They're going to play them for you and you're going to need to identify which one is which. The last major thing is the rhythm test. They're going to sit down with you and start clapping measures in 4/4 and 6/8. If you're auditioning for Berklee this year, I wish you the best of luck and I hope this video was helpful. All applicable links are in the description and yeah, I don't really know how to end videos, so I hope this...